Perfect. And then row, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can look at the chat. All right, and then I can share my screen, and I think we're good to go. Share screen, and okay, what's it doing? It should be starting. Allow. Oh, why is it every week? Every week. There's something new. There's something new. Stop that again. Let's try it again. Share. iPad. Cable. This is just not. Yeah, I'm sharing. I was sharing earlier today. Literally was sharing earlier today. Let's try this. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend, and I am sorry that is taking a second. Okay, there we go. Sharing's pause screen sharing. There we go. Yay. Now I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and we're ready to go. We are ready to go. Hello, Beauty 503. Hello. So we are doing a new set of questions, not this math, but this one here. So let's get to it, shall we? Number one. Ooh, you all should remember this because we had one that was like this last week. A rental building has several different types of insurance. A property manager may want to have which of the following? Is it A, fire and hazard insurance, B, errors and omissions insurance, C, casualty insurance, or D, rent loss insurance? Which one is the answer? Now, hopefully we remember, but I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, the property manager may want to have which type of insurance? Well, I guess it's similar to one we did last week, but so we're thinking about what would protect the property manager. Well, fire and hazard insurance protects the building. Casualty insurance, I mean, if there's a casualty of some sort, and of course, rent loss is if there's some type of rent loss. But I think our answer has to be B. Oh, I need to make sure I can see y'all in y'all's chat. Boom, there we go. I'm thinking the answer is going to be B, but we got some D's too. Now, we did last week, we talked about rent loss insurance in case there were some vacancies, but I don't know if that's going to be the property manager getting the rent loss insurance so much as the entity needs to have rent loss insurance. So it doesn't matter which property manager you have, you would want that rent loss insurance. So I'm going to say no to D, and I am going to go with B because I know B is the right answer.
Hey, Candace,
Go for it.
on this one, the
Mhm.
property manager, isn't that the broker?
Yes, the property manager would be
Okay,
the
so
broker.
it would be errors and omission insurance that he
Yep,
would want. Okay.
exactly. And that's going to be called, when you all get out there in the real world, it's going to be called E&O insurance. And when you get your broker for your license, they'll tell you, okay, this is part of, what you're paying. How are we going to pay it? But you get a large policy and you want it. You want errors and omissions insurance, whether it's sales or property management, because none of us are perfect. But think about it. Attorneys have E&O, doctors have E&O, like a lot of professionals do because we like to sue in this country. All right. Number two. Rents are typically set A, after an analysis of the building by a certified appraiser, B, somewhat arbitrarily, C, based on expenses of the building, or D, based on market rents and vacancy rates. What do we got? What are y'all thinking? All right, we got a D. Hannah says D. I do like D. Based on the expenses of the bill. Well, I can eliminate one. We know it's not somewhat arbitrarily. Like no, there's got to be something here. After an analysis of the building by a certified appraiser, well, the certified appraiser would be finding value. They wouldn't be finding, your rent. So this leaves us with two. Based on the expenses of the building or based on market rents and vacancy rates. All right, Mariel, you're saying D. Okay, I like that. Freckles, you said D too. I see you there. I see you there. So let's go with D because what? D is the right answer, right? But why is C not the right answer? And that's because, look, the expenses, let's say your expenses for the building were uh, $1,500 a month. I mean, that's really low. All right, 1,500. Okay, let's say 15,000. No, let's just go 1,500. Just because your expenses are 1,500 doesn't mean all you're going to charge in rent is going to cover the expenses. There's got to be a profit. There has to be a profit. Well, there should be a profit. Now, if your expenses are low, then you don't have to charge astronomical rent and you could still make profit. If your expenses are high and, the rental area, it's a little soft, you're not getting the rents that you want. You need to lower your rents. Yeah, you could be in the red. You might be losing money. So you don't want to just base it off the expenses. You want to see what's the market doing? What is the vacancy rate? So good job. 3. Salesperson Sally works for broker Bob. Unknown to Bob, Sally has been particularly rude to Vietnamese customers. Boo, Sally. If she is charged with a fair housing violation, will broker Bob also be held responsible? So is it A, yes, B, no, C, only if she is an employee, or D, only if Bob had known? All right, I got A's, yes. Yeah, the answer's yes. That's the whole point of being a broker. You are responsible for watching out for these people. And this person is obviously breaking the fair housing laws. And we know our protected classes are Fred's Corn, right? We got familial status. Dude takes a second to write it out. Race, disability or differently abled. Sex, color, religion, or national origin. There we go. Fred's Corn. Number 4, a property manager analyzing a building's risk may recommend all except which of the following. So we've got all except, which means 3 of these you do recommend. Yay, we want those. And 1 of these is no, we do not recommend. Is it going to be to retain risk, to transfer risk, to avoid risk, or to contain risk? Hmm. 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 What are we thinking? We got this one. Now, this is a whole, you know what? I was doing something and I was reading a book on this. And I know our state doesn't really talk about this, the risk management thing, but 3 of these things are part of a whole, hey, this is what you tell people. This is what risk management is about. Did I take notes somewhere? So when I look at this, I look at this and I remember what I read. And so I think, you know what? I think I remember, and I think the answer is D, contain risk. I thought because I remember thinking, why would somebody want to retain risk? Like, I get like you want to transfer risk, and I get that you'd want to avoid risk, but contain the risk, like to me, I was thinking, oh, well, you wanted to contain it so it didn't get bigger. But I remember thinking retained risk is weird. So I think that is the answer. Although I remember thinking I really need to look into what they mean by retaining the risk. So I don't know what to say there. I guess I kind of have to go with retain. I'm with contain the risk, and maybe we need to look up what first. Let's see if I'm right. So number four. Four is D. Hey, I got it right. Okay. I didn't ask y'all really what you thought, but hey, if I didn't know, I'm figuring y'all probably didn't know either. So, what does it say here is our answer? It says retaining, transferring, and avoiding risk are three ways to deal with risk. The fourth way to deal with risk is to control it. That's right. Retaining, transferring, avoiding, and control. So we got retaining, transferring, avoiding, and control, not contain. I wonder if we can come up with an acronym. Re- retaining, transferring, avoiding control. Well, you know what this means. Gotta ask the man. Gotta ask the man. Open phone. Hey, Uncle Ray, could you come up with a great acronym or mnemonic device for the four different types of risk that a property manager would want to, you know, deal with their property? I know there's retaining the risk, transferring the risk, avoiding the risk, and controlling the risk. Uh, what acronym do you have for that?
Absolutely, Candace. Let's come up with something memorable. Since we've got retain, transfer, avoid, and control, one fun acronym could be TRACK. Just imagine telling your property manager, stay on track with your risk management. It stands for transfer, retain, avoid, and control. Simple and easy to remember.
Why does he make it seem so simple? Why does Uncle Ray make it seem so simple? And Marilla, I don't know if you could hear that or anybody. He said we should go for track. So you're gonna stay on track. So that would be transferring, retaining, avoiding. This time you hear perfect, yeah. And then control. So we have a new acronym, one that I like very much. This is great. I like it. So we have the track for risk analysis, and then we have the other one he came up with, but that's okay. Good. I like that. Our answer was, in fact, contain. You don't contain the risk. Cool. Because we wanted to know. All right, number five. Broker A and Broker B meet to discuss a listing that both of them are working on. They discuss the commission they will share. Which of the following is true? Is it A, they have violated antitrust laws on price fixing? B, they have violated local real estate board practice if the fee they are discussing is beyond the standard fee schedule? C, they really can't discuss anything because the state real estate commission sets the fees. Or D, no violation of the law has occurred. Oh, this is a good one. What are you all thinking? What are we thinking? Take a guess.
I would think D.
And you all, I see D. Mariel, you're saying D. Caroline, you said D. And yeah, it is D. But you know, and this is something, Hannah, you were saying, I love going backwards and just practicing excluding the other answers. Why are the other answers wrong? Well, if we look at A, they violated antitrust prohibiting price fixing, but this question says they are, oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Toot toot. It's B. D over here. Sorry. Boop. It says up here that they are discussing a listing that both of them are working on. And when we talk about price fixing, we're talking about a general, hey, it doesn't matter what listing or what buyer it is, we're all going to kind of follow this rule. But if they're working on a particular just one listing, that's not a problem. So our answer is not A. They have violated the local real estate board practice if the fee they are discussing is beyond the standard fee schedule. We know there is no standard fee schedule. That would be an antitrust violation. And then, of course, our real estate commissions do not set the fees, making our only answer D. Woot woot. All right. Similar, we got number 7 here. Broker A and broker B, who have real estate agencies on opposite sides of town, meet at the beginning of the year and agree that each one will handle sales only in his part of town and will not interfere with the sales in the other broker's area. Is this A, they have violated the antitrust law prohibiting price fixing? B, they have violated the anti-lust law. Yes, there is now an anti-lust law. I think it's because Jason Momoa heard how many times I talk about him, and they're like, yeah, she's freaking me out. That's what that is. They have violated the antitrust law prohibiting market allocation. They have violated the antitrust law on group boycotting, or they have violated no antitrust law. But I have violated the anti-lust law. That's not my fault. Jason Momoa shouldn't be that pretty. And then, just saying. Just saying. So what are we thinking? What are we thinking is the answer? Do 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 do. Okay, so maybe we need to break this down. Well, I can tell you right now, they have violated an antitrust law. But the question is, are they violating group boycotting? Are they doing, market allocation, or are they price fixing? Well, price fixing would be them saying, hey, let's agree to a rate. And that's not what they did in this one. They said each one will handle sales only in his part of town. So that's not price fixing. They have violated the anti-law trust. Anti-law trust? I mean, can my words just get any more backwards? Antitrust law prohibiting market allocation. Well, yeah, I like this one. I think this is market allocation because they're saying, hey, I'm only going to do the stuff in my part of town and I'm not going to interfere with sales in the other person's area. You're allocating a market there. And they have violated the antitrust law on group boycotting. Well, that's if all of us get together. You know what? Target. We kind of got together and said, Target, you need to do better. And we kind of boycotted. And Target's been feeling the pain. So that would be group boycotting. Now, it's illegal when, let's say, Target and Walmart and I was going to say Kmart, but I don't know if those exist anymore. Walgreens, Rite Aid, any of those, all the retail places got together and said, we can't stand Tide. Nobody is going to stock or make Tide available. And they all get together and do that. That would be a problem. So, or you know what? That's a good example, but I would probably say a better example would be, let's say you had restaurants and you had 2 different types of suppliers. So you had 2 different, let's say you have 5 different suppliers, A, B, C, and D. That's 4, and E. I can count. I know my alphabet. If all of the restaurants got together and said, we hate a supplier B, nobody order from supplier B. You can't do that. You can't do that. So, number 7, seller Sam hires broker Bob to sell his house. Bob brings Betty buyer to see the house. Assuming there is no dual agency, which of the following is correct? And I like to draw these little things out. I think they help in these confusing ones. You're going to have a seller on one side. You're going to have a buyer on one side. So you got seller Sam. You got broker Bob, right? And their client, that's their client. And then you got this buyer, Betty. Well, if there's an agency relationship here, if broker Bob wanted to represent Betty, that would have to be dual agency. And they said no to this dual agency. No, no D. So that means that, well, if this has got to be the client, and if you're going to work with them, then okay, in this instance, this would be the customer. All right, now that we figured that out, let's see which answer meets this. Sam is, well, this would be the client. Sam is the customer and Bob is the agent. No, because Sam is the client. Sam is the customer. Nope. Sam is the client. Yes, I like that. And Betty is the customer. Exactly what we wrote. I like it, but let's check D. Betty is the client. Nope. And Bob is the agent. Well, Bob is the agent, but if it's not dual agency, Betty can't be the client. So making our answer C. I see y'all getting those answers right. And hello, DMC7171. Welcome to the party. Welcome, welcome. All right. Is this good? And remember, ask questions if you need me to go into something different or you need me to explain something. Yeah, just saying. All right. Number 8. An agency established with a written document is always. An agency established with a written document is always. Would it be express agency, implied agency, an agency by estoppel, or an agency by ratification? All right, Caroline says B. Okay, we got a B. Anybody else? Ah, you forgot. Okay, so we need to talk about what these mean. So let's go backwards. When you ratify something, you're going in and you're later saying, yes, that's correct. I don't know an easier way to say that. Like, I'm confirming. Ratification is like a later confirmation. So it's like, oh, we thought, so it would be, if I had a client, Bill, and we were working and we didn't have anything in writing, and Bill's like, oh, I'm Candace's agent, and then later on I like certify or I confirm he is in fact my agent. That's ratification. All right. Agency by estoppel is a defense. It's saying, well, Candace, if you act like this guy's, whatever I said his name was, agent, and you do all these things claiming, to be his agent, you can't then change your mind and be like, but we never said I was his agent. Or like I like to say, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, the idea of estoppel is you can't just say, oh, but I really wasn't a duck. So I'm just going to put duck here and you all will have to remember what that means. Then implied agency and express agency. And these two words we see a lot. We talk about express contracts and implied contracts. You can talk about, express easements and things like that. Well, these are based off of what you think it would be, which is express means that it is either directly stated or written. And implied is like you hinted around it. I like to think about this like, when I want something from Christmas for my boyfriend, if I'm trying to be sly, I might be like hinting around it, be like, ooh, what about this? What about that? Like, have you seen this catalog of rings? That's me hinting. But me being like, I need you to order one of these rings and ask me to marry you. That would be like expressly communicating something, right? So when we talk about express or implied, whether it's agency, contracts, whatever, express means you expressly stated it or you put it in writing. You are having this conversation or you've had it laid out on this paper. And implied is like, well, I'm kind of thinking from your actions that this is what it is. Right? You can talk about when you're an agent, like where do your powers, like what you can do and what you can't do for your client, that could either be express. The contract says if you're a buyer, seller's agent, property manager, you are allowed to do X, Y, Z. It's right there in writing, or your client said you can do this. That's express. Implied would be, I like to give the example. Let's say I'm a property manager and my client says, "Hey, Candace, for a vacation property. In the winter, when nobody's at the beach house, would you make sure that, once a week you open up the windows during the day to just freshen, fresh out, get the fresh air in the house. And then, in the evening, close the windows." I have express permission to open and close the windows, but it's implied that I have permission to enter the house and to lock the windows. They didn't expressly state it, it was implied by the actions. So for this one, since it's a written document, this is going to make our answer. Anybody want to change their answer there? Yeah, it's A. But this was a good review. And I'm telling y'all right now, these two words, this express agency, this implied, like you're going to see that a lot in real estate. So this is a star-worthy topic, like express and implied. You're going to see it in agency and like like what you can do, like I can't think of the word I'm thinking of right now. Like what you're able to do for your client and what you can't do, there's a word there. You can have it in contracts. I mean, it's express and implied. It happens. And we talk about expressly giving an easement, or an easement by implication, implied easement. So you see those words a lot. We need to make sure we know them. All right. Unless we have any other questions, let's move on. Number 9. Fran, that's like Fannie Mae. Fran notifies all the brokers in her area that her house is for sale, and she says she will work with any broker who brings a buyer. She is creating A, a seller's listing, B, a free-for-all listing. A free-for-all listing. That sounds great. C, an open listing, or D, an exclusive right to sell. And very quickly, I see y'all telling me our answer is, of course, C, an open listing. And we know the opposite of an open listing would be that exclusive right to sell. And we know that we know. We're going to see on the test the difference between an open listing and an exclusive right to sell versus an exclusive listing. You have to know this. Open listing is exactly what it says here. Any broker can market and, tell people about it. There's not just one listing agent. An exclusive right to sell, an exclusive listing, there's only one listing broker or company or whatever you want to call it, firm. Only one listing broker. But in an exclusive right to sell, you get paid no matter who finds the buyer. And in an exclusive listing, you get no money if the seller finds the buyer. So an exclusive listing, you have less opportunities to get paid. Which is cool because there's less words. This is just exclusive listing, 1 word, 2 word. This is an exclusive right to sell listing. It's 5 words. It's more words, more opportunity to get paid. There we go. All right, number 10. Sarah, a seller, agrees to let broker Ben keep any amount over $200,000 that she needs if he sells her house. This is called, all right, okay, y'all are throwing out these C's real quick. I see you. Freckles, I see you over there. You've been given answers too. I don't mean to ignore you. And okay, C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. Oh, you know what? Let's hear the original. Let me share my computer sound. Boom and...
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
Right? Or I like carrots.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you. We like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, crunch, crunch.
Funny story, y'all. You know, I'm tutoring my friend's kid in Algebra 2, and the answer was C. And I was like, it goes crunch, crunch, crunch. And she just looked at me like I had lost her, like I lost my mind. This coming from a child that says 6, 7. Really, I'm the one that's lost my mind. But I can see how, since she doesn't watch us, she was a little confused. Just saying. But our answer, of course, is C, a net listing. And we know those aren't legal in every state. Not every state. You got to check in and see, okay, what's going on. All right, number 11. You are representing seller Sharon and bring buyer Barbara, your customer, to see the house. Barbara makes an offer. Okay, already I know I'm going to need to draw this out. So there's seller Sharon, and then there's a buyer, Barb, and I'm representing Sarah. So this is me. I say I'm the broker, and this is a customer. Okay, so I'm a listing agent, and buyer Barb is not my client. So if it's my customer, this is not dual agency either. So you are representing seller Sharon and bring buyer Barbara, your customer, to see the house. Barbara makes an offer. Barbara has confidentially told you about the bankruptcy she went through 2 years ago, but she thinks she will be financially approved to buy the house. What, if anything, should you do with the information about the bankruptcy? A, tell Sharon. Tell it. B, keep the information confidential, like Barbara asked you to. C, keep the information confidential unless the deal doesn't go through. Or D, contact the bank and verify Barbara's financial status. What are we thinking? All right, we got a B. We got 2 B's. We got B. Caroline says B. All right. Anybody? A? Oh, there's only 3 of you. Anybody on YouTube have a thought for me here? All right, let's go. And I have to say it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Our answer is not B. That is the wrong answer. Womp womp. But why? Why is it not the right answer?
Because we don't, it's just a client. We don't owe any confidentiality. It's just a client.
Yes, exactly. You owe that old car, right? That loyalty you owe to your client, not your customer. Your customer told you she would like confidentiality. Well, I would like to win the lottery. But that's probably not going to happen unless, God, you're listening, and please, I'd like those problems. But if she wants confidentiality, she needs to hire an agent. She needs somebody to represent her interest. And right now, she is just a customer. That's a no-go. She doesn't get confidentiality. She needed to hire an agent. So, yeah, she's going to go ahead and she's going to tell Sharon. Go ahead and tell Sharon. Sharon is who you owe loyalty to. Sharon is who you owe disclosure of all information. You must share everything you know about the transaction with your client, unless you're in dual agency. I mean, that's, if you know something, you tell it. Does that make sense to everybody now, I'm hoping? Why the answer's A? Okay. You should have gone with your gut. You know, unless your gut is telling you to eat like a whole cheesecake in one sitting, I think you should. Don't judge. All right, number 12. Several people, that teenager really was like, why are you singing about carrots? Like she was judging. Well, that's okay, because I judge 6, 7. 12. Several people are involved in most real estate transactions. The duty of loyalty requires you to put their interest in what order of priority. Let me read that one more time. Several people are involved in most real estate transactions. The duty of loyalty requires you to put their interest in what order of priority. Is this kind of like when the Marines are like God, country, God, family, whatever it is, whatever order that is? Is it yourself, your customer, then your client? Yourself, your client, then your customer? Your customer, your client, and then yourself? Or your client, yourself, and then the customer? All right, we got a D. Mariel's saying D.
It is D.
Okay, I like it. And I see DMC. I see you said A on the last one, acknowledging that, unless that's right. I'm hoping that's the last one that you said A for. Right. D, Caroline says D. Another D. Because, yep, that's the right answer. Because that's the right answer. Remember, you owe your client this whole loyalty thing in old car. So let's say you have 2 houses. Let's say that Candace needs to do a better job drawing a house. I can do this. What? I mean, I don't know why I find it so hard to draw that roof. Boop. So this is house A. And this is house B. And let's say there's a sales bonus, B for bonus, of $5,000 on house B. What you cannot do is lead your client to this one because you want the $5,000 bonus. This bonus should not influence how you're helping your client at all, because it's supposed to be about your client, not your pocketbook, not how much money you're going to make. You lead them to the house that's going to best fit their needs. To do anything else is to be wrong. It's about your client. So yes, our answer is D. Hey, I see you. I see you there, DMC. Nice job. Number 13. A homeowner refuses to rent an apartment in his two-family house to an African-American family. Which of the following is true regarding this action with respect to fair housing laws? So we have some keywords here. A homeowner refuses to rent an apartment in his two-family house to an African-American family. Which of the following is true? So that means we're going to have 3 false and we're going to have 1 true. Is it A? This is legal because there's an exception to the law for 1 to 4 family houses. B, this is legal only if the owner lives in the house himself. C, this is legal as long as the homeowner does not use discriminatory advertising. And D, this is illegal. What say you for number 13? All right, Caroline's giving me a D. Freckles, are you giving me a D there? All right, Mariel's giving me a D. All right, we got 3 Ds. Let's get it, 3 Ds. Now we just need the nuts. And yes, the answer is this is illegal. Can anybody tell me why this is illegal? Anybody tell me why it is illegal? How come we're not looking at this 1 to 4 family houses? Or, hey, you live in the house and you can have... Why does this not apply in this scenario? It's because of race. Remember, the Civil Rights Act of 18 where's my brain? 1876? Is that it? 1876 is like, Is it 1878? 1876? I don't know why my brain is flaking right now, but we know that older Civil Rights Act says you cannot discriminate based on race ever. 1968, 1860. There are so many numbers floating around my head right now, and this is what is it, y'all? It is the Civil Rights Act, the oldest one.
I think it's 18. Oh gosh, I
I
can't.
know now I'm like 8, 7, 6, 9. Why are there so many numbers? And when you get this way on the test, you know what we do? We just go look it up. But go ahead, you all tell me, what do we think it is? All right.
The 1968.
Well, 1968 is simply about housing, and it is illegal to discriminate, but it does have those exemptions, the 1 to 4 family unit, if you're selling and it's 1 to 4 families, or if you live in it, and those that works, but it's not what we're looking for. All right, we're looking for, no, it's not what I want either. We are looking for, what am I looking for? Not the essential list.
Discrimination, right?
Yeah, discrimination. Where is y'all, where is it? I have lost it. There's the 4 lists, and then we've got let's go home. Let's go to recents, the cheat sheet. That's what I was looking for, the cheat sheet. Toot. So, fair housing. Real estate agency, fair housing. 1866. There it is. 1866. I was like 18. So there's got to be a way to remember this. Is it maybe because we got a 66, a 68, a 74, and then an 88? So it kind of goes in.
It can definitely get a bit.
Oh,
6, 8, 4, 8. I don't know. I'm gonna work on that one. 66, 68, 74, 88. Hey, we do have 6, 7, but okay, I've been around too many kids. I'm gonna work on this. We're gonna try to come up with some way to remember this. 6, 8, 6, 6, 6, 6, 8, 7, 4, 8, 8. Okay.
I
I'm gonna
almost
work on
said
that.
1866 too. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Girl, now, Confident Caroline, I'm gonna need you to do it. 1866. D, I see you. Yes, it's 1866. Yes. It's all those numbers. All of a sudden, you're like, but there's a 6, there's a 7, there's an 8, there's a 9. I'm like, what? Why are there so many of the same numbers here? So I'm gonna have to remember 66, 68, 74, 88. There's got to be, maybe I can make it into a song. Like, with that song AI, we'll work on that. Okay, so we're good on 13. Let's move on to 14. Christians only. Federal fair housing is 1968. Yep, D, you're exactly right. You know what I've noticed is when I'm using this new software to go to YouTube and Facebook, although I'm just doing YouTube today because I want to work some things out with Facebook, but it's not as much of a lag to YouTube, I think. I don't know. I think the lag is different. So we'll see. I need to go back. 14, Christians only is the advertisement for a house that's for sale. So Christians only is the advertisement for a house that's for sale. This is legal if the house isn't owner occupied. B, illegal unless a real estate agent is used. C, legal because it's a 1-family house. Or D, illegal. So we're back to that fair housing. Back to that fair housing. What are we thinking? This goes back to our exemptions. So Our exemptions say, hey, there are times that you can discriminate, right? There are times that you can discriminate. The key here is advertisement. You can never advertise the discrimination. So remember, the Federal Fair Housing Act, basically what it says, the lag is on your TV. Oh, okay. I'm going to try to work on it, make it faster. Or D, if you email me, and here's my email, you can get the Zoom login and just join us directly. It's just CandiceEllis@gmail. Just email me and say, hey, can I have the Zoom link for the office hours? And I will be able to hear you in real time and, go there. So it's going to be illegal. You can never advertise that discrimination. What you can do is say, oh, I'm a for sale by owner, and I own less than 3 single-family homes, and I don't do this more than once every 2 years. I can discriminate, but I can't use an agent. I cannot put it in advertising, and I can never discriminate on race because of the Civil Rights Act of 1866. See, that time it flew right out of my mouth, 1866. I thought about it. That was the problem. So we got that one. We've got, oh, are you renting a room in your house or up to, a 1 to 4 family unit dwelling? So it's a small condo, a duplex, and you live in one of the units. Yeah, you can discriminate. However, you can't advertise it. You can't use an agent. It can never be based on race. Right? Then you've got, religious groups and clubs. If membership to the club or the religion is not discriminatory on any of the other protected classes. And of course, you've got your elderly housing, but I dare you to call somebody in Gen X elderly. Let me know how that works out for you. Right? But because we got this word advertisement, that's going to be the problem. It's all about the details. Gosh darn it. All right. It works better on phone. Okay. I got you, D. I got you. Well, I'd love to have you in the Zoom room either way. 15. A young married woman's income is discounted by 50% by a bank when she applies for a mortgage loan because she is of childbearing age. So a young married woman's income is discounted by 50% because she's of childbearing age. This is a good way to get your ass kicked in the parking lot. I didn't say that. Y'all didn't hear that. But either way, is it A, legal discrimination, B, legal discrimination because of the business aspects of banking, C, called redlining, or D, legal because protection of a depositor's money supersedes other laws? Well, let's talk about it. It's not C. Redlining is where they give loans. It's that where. If the bank says, we will, if this is the map, and they say yes over here, but then over here they say no because of the racial makeup, that would be redlining. So it's about where they're giving loans. It's not redlining. Let's go with D, legal because protection of a depositor's money. We're not talking about a deposit. We're not deposit. No, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. No. So is it legal discrimination because the business aspects of banking or illegal discrimination? And it is not B. Our answer is A, illegal discrimination because of ECOA. And that's the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. And it says you cannot discriminate based on age. I mean, if somebody's under 18, that's one thing. But I don't care if she's of childbearing age or older or... No, you cannot say that. Hey, Mary. So, you got that going on. Does that make sense to everybody? Yay, I'm hoping. All right, number 16. Yep, D. It's okay, D. We make the mistakes here so that you don't make them later. That's all. 16. A Portuguese couple has looking for a house asked a real estate agent to show them houses in Portuguese neighborhoods. Which of the following is correct? A, the agent can accommodate this request because the buyers are asking for it. B, the agent should tell buyers that she will show them houses in a number of different neighborhoods that meet their needs. C, the agent should refuse to work with the buyers. Or D, the agent should agree, then show the buyers houses in other neighborhoods. Well, you should not agree. You can't agree to show them houses in a Portuguese neighborhood means you'd have to be you can't. That's discrimination. You can't say, oh, well, this neighborhood is Portuguese. If you've got 20 houses, how many people of Portuguese descent have to be there before you consider it a Portuguese neighbor? Like, that's absolutely not. Not to mention just no. Just no. Right? So it's not D. The agent should refuse to work with buyers. Okay. You speak Portuguese? Oh, that's so cool. Aw. You got C, the agent should tell the buyer she will show them houses in a number of different neighborhoods that meet their needs. Okay, maybe. And then you got A, the agent can accommodate this request. Nope. Right. And what I find, and I say this when you all are taking your quizzes, if this question is said, a couple is looking for a house and ask the real estate agent to only show them houses in a black only neighborhood or a white only neighborhood, everybody would be like, oh no, you can't do that. I don't care if they asked. Doesn't matter if it's white, black, Portuguese, Italian, Irish. No. If you're talking about race or culture or anything like that, ethnicity, I cannot make decisions or show you information based on that. No. So don't get caught just because it's not white, black, right? But now we've got, should I refuse to work with the buyers or should I tell the buyers I'll show you houses in a number of different neighborhoods that meet their needs? I think B is the best answer.
Yep.
Right?
B is the right answer.
B is you are correct, ma'am. There's our confident Caroline. B is the right answer. Now, if this buyer continues to be mad at you, well, I told you I only wanted this type of neighborhood, and you've already said, hey, I can't do that, then we're going to go to C, right? If they are just insistent, that's not what I'm trying to do, boom. And I don't care if it's a buyer or seller, and they want you to be racist or discriminatory or whatever it may be, you cannot do that. You refuse. First explain to them, I can't do it, and then understand. Then, you go next. So that's
So
why
you always tell them when there is this kind of situation, you always tell them, I cannot just show you this particular.
Yes, and you should probably explain to them why. And I'll say this is particularly true, explaining why, when you get to familial status. Now, I think all of us would know if somebody comes in and wants you to do something racist, discriminatory against, religion or something, one of the other ones, you pretty clear why you can't. But familial status in real life is sometimes hard for people to understand. So let's say, Amaryl, I'm your buyer and I ask you to show me houses, but I've got 3 kids and I want you to show me neighborhoods with other kids. And then you're going to say, well, I'm sorry, that's a protected class and I cannot group out neighborhoods based off of any of the protected classes. And eventually one of your clients is going to be like, well, that's stupid. I don't know anything about the neighborhood. That's why I hired you. That's why I wanted you. I want to find a great neighborhood. Look, I can find you a great neighborhood by the number of trees, but I cannot group by, familial status. I just cannot. And people will they will get so mad. Why can't you tell me about the neighborhood? And what I used to say well, not used to, but what I tell people to say is, sometimes if they're not understanding, put it on the extreme. Would you want me to answer this question if I knew the person asking was a sex offender who had a preference for children? Oh, no? Well, since sex offenders don't have it labeled across their head, I can't tell anybody. Plus, it's not fair. Oh, you have kids, you're not allowed to live here. Oh, you don't have kids, you're not allowed to live here. Absolutely not. So you all are just be aware that people will give you a hard time with that. And Mary, yes, I think I am pretty settled. Although Mary just asked me if I was settled in my new place in Michigan. I am. I was not ready for that cold weather on Monday. Y'all, I'm from North Carolina now for 30 years. Been 30 years. Why was the temperature 28, but that wind chill was 18? I had to put on a real winter coat. I thought I could be like, oh, I do without a coat in North Carolina all the time. Michigan was like, no.
Just quick question, Candace.
Mhm.
Have you had an experience in your career?
Of people not
Discrimination?
understanding why I can't tell them about familial status?
No, have you had an experience in your career that with discrimination, a client?
Oh, yeah. I've had clients ask me to do all sorts of discriminatory things. And this is why real estate is such a people business. You've got to find the way to say it. Like I've had, okay, so, and I'm not shy. I've had people who I consider myself Black American or African American, and people who are also African American, and they'll be like, hey, can you show me neighborhoods with other Black people? I just want to feel comfortable. I understand the sentiment, but that is illegal. I know you don't think you're saying something bad, you're not thinking this is bad, but how would you feel if somebody who was Caucasian came to me and said, hey, I don't want to live in a neighborhood that you think is filled with Black? Like, I can't do it. Can't do it. As familial status, I've had people, they're like, oh, I want to be near this religious place of worship, whether it's, a mosque or a synagogue or church. I can't find houses based off of the religious, like house of worship or whatever it is. I mean, so you do. And I don't think any of the people who asked me to do something discriminatory were being malicious. But remember, when it comes to fair housing, it's not about your intent, whether you intend to be malicious or not. Sometimes people say things that can be discriminatory or offensive and they don't mean to be, but the judge isn't going to be like, oh, you didn't mean it. Don't worry about it. So yes, to answer that question, I have run into it, but it's not it doesn't have to be a big deal if you learn how to handle it and just, since I don't think most people are doing it maliciously to say, hey, I know you're not trying to do something bad, but let me explain to you. Or once I had had an agent, I was working in an office, and the agent was trying to sell a FSBO house. And the FSBO seller had said, we have a diverse neighborhood, and listed the different types of like ethnicities with children. I understood what the seller was trying to say. And she obviously thought it was a good thing, but I was like, oh, please, ma'am, please change your flyers. You cannot mention race and office and kids on this housing flyer, please. So again, she wasn't trying to be discriminatory. She just didn't get it. So there you go. Oh no, you just signed up for Prep Agent until you found out I wasn't doing any more webinars. Well, you can find, I'm here twice a week, and it's free. And D, you said, is it okay to say diversity? Well, I think I just covered it with that one. Like, diverse how? Because that's kind of hinting around, like, if I say it's a diverse community, then if I had somebody who wanted to be discriminatory, they'd be like, well, I don't want diversity. I want everybody to be there that looks like me. So I tell people, probably don't say, unless you're talking about, oh, now you all know I'm from North Carolina. I'm a Tar Heel. I went to University of North Carolina, so boo Duke. So if somebody were to say it's a diverse neighborhood, we've got Duke fans, Carolina fans, NC State fans, Ohio fans, Patriots fans, Cowboys fans. Well, if you want to talk about it's diverse and who they support in sports, that's one thing. But if you're talking about diverse for like race or religion, but you're just not saying it, that's a problem. But that's okay. How do you find me? So Mary, and then we'll do one more and then we'll go every what is it? Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and this is Eastern. And every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I go live for about an hour. And depending on how much it grows, I might add a third day. And you can always email me. You can always email me and be like, how do I find you? So there you go. All right, let's do one more. That would be awesome to do another day. I mean, I don't mind at all, y'all. I tell y'all, I have so much fun with y'all. It's not a problem. People are like, don't you not want it? I would much rather do this with you all than so many other things I have to do in my life. So, okay, let's do 17. Advising people on which neighborhoods they would be happy in may be construed as, well, it's not construed as familial status. Let's just write it. Advertising people on which neighborhoods they would be happy in may be construed as redlining, blockbusting, steering, or canvassing.
Steering.
There you go, steering. There's my confident Caroline. It is steering. And I see you, Muriel. Yes, I see you with that answer. Remember, redlining is about finance, right? In that map. Blockbusting is about sellers or panic peddling. Steering is about buyers. And canvassing is when you go around asking questions. So Mary asked if I got my license for Michigan. I just finished my class exam and now I've got to find a broker. And there you go. And then I'll take my state exam. And let's see. D, you said question about the real estate exam. You thought you had the last day until our birth month. This is true. So D, it depends on your state. And are you talking about your class exam or your state exam? Email me and I'll try to find out some information for you. All right, let's do one more. 18, because I do have fun with y'all. We'll do all right, might as well go to 22. I don't know. The Jones versus Mayer decision basically confirmed. The Jones versus Mayer decision basically confirmed the constitutionality. Did I say that right? I don't know. Of fair housing laws. B, the legality of the various exceptions to fair housing laws. C, no exemption for race in fair housing laws. Or D, the owner-occupied exemption for fair housing laws. Do, 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 do. Oh, Maril, I see you. It's C. All right. You're in Texas. Yeah, email me, D. And we'll try to figure it out together. All right. I see you, Texas. You said Caroline said Texas or Texas. She said C too. No exception for race. Yes. The Jones versus Mayer is about race, right? So boom. And this is definitely one that you want to make sure that you remember. All right. One you want to remember. Very good, Mary. Yes, it's C. All right, 19. Yeah, Mary, email me. We can catch up. Email me. 19. A young woman is refused the right to buy a condominium in a complex that restricts purchases to people 50 years of age or older. This is A, illegal, B, legal, C, legal if there is a restrictive covenant in the condominium deed, or D, legal if the complex is specifically designated as senior citizen housing for people over the age of 50. Why have I gotten to my life where I'm like, 50 doesn't sound that old? Because I am almost 50. I don't feel old. All right. What are we thinking? 19. Okay, Muriel said D. All right, Caroline said D. D, are you telling me the answer is C? I think, or is that for the last one? Well, I got 2 Ds. I got 2 Ds. That's just, I don't know why I find I've got the sense of humor of a child. You all know this, but I have to tell you.
Houston, we have a problem.
The problem is 50. The number for age stuff is not, it's either 55 or 62, right? It's 55 or 62, not 50. So that makes it illegal. Oh, they got you with the numbers. They got you with the numbers. I know it's not fair. There's so many friggin' numbers, but there you go. All right. 20. The lumber for a deck that has not yet been built is A, personal property, B, a fixture, C, a trade fixture, or D, real estate. That one got you, Caroline. Look, I think if I wasn't in teacher mode, that's the kind of thing that when I'm testing, I have to look out for because I'll just read it real quick and breeze right by that 50. So it's not just you. I'm in teacher mode. And I found when I was taking my end of class exam, that's what I had to like, okay, Candace, if you were on YouTube, what would you say? How would you explain it to your students? And that way, that's how I passed. So I got lots of A's, A. I know, Mary, so many numbers. And yes, you are correct. The answer is A, personal property. Boom. Okay, 21. The interest of a tenant in a rented building is most properly known as the interest of a tenant in a rented building is most properly known as A, a leasehold, B, a leased fee, C, tenant's rights, or D, tenancy and fee. All right, Caroline says A. D, I think you're saying B. No, you're saying A. Okay, we got you. Okay, you said A. All right. And yes, Emerald, you said A. Look at y'all, geniuses. A, it's a leasehold. Remember, I like to remind you that fee is going to mean inheritable. And that's going to always be our fee simple estates, which are freehold.
Which is ownership, right?
Which is ownership. Good. There goes my confident Caroline. I love it. Yes. Whoop. Love it. All right. 22. Reversion of title is a feature in what type of interest? Reversion of title is a feature in what type of interest? A, fee simple, B, fee simple condition precedent, C, fee simple condition subsequent, or D, a fee simple determinable. All right, let's think about this. Well, it's not A. And I don't think it is B, because if it's a fee simple condition precedent, that means before you could even have the house, you had to meet the criteria. So if you didn't meet the criteria, it would have never been yours, and there's nothing to revert back. Does that make sense? All right, so it's not B, fee simple condition precedent. Now I'm down between fee simple condition subsequent and fee simple determinable. Well, we know both of these are going to be our defeasible estates. And this one ends automatically. And this one, the person has to go to court. So reversion of title is a feature of what type of interest? Well, if you break your condition and they take you to court, it could revert back to you. But in a fee simple determinable, if you break the condition, it's automatically going to go back to the person. I mean, I would have said C and D, but maybe D because it's automatic. D. Yeah, Mary, I'm thinking D. Y'all are thinking D too. I'm gonna go with D, but I'm gonna have to look this one up. I want to see if it's not D, why is it C? Like I'm gonna need them to explain that to me. And if that doesn't work, we'll ask Uncle Ray. All right, we're at 22. Scrolling. 22. You may have been tempted to answer fee simple condition subsequent, which allows for the right of reentry, the grantor's right to go back to the court to reclaim the property. And fee simple determinable, the title reverts back to the grantor if a certain condition isn't met. So I was right, because if it doesn't always revert back, so it's just automatically. That seems more of a law school type of thing. I mean, now we know, but this is not something I would expect y'all to know for the test. Like, even I was like, I don't know. So our answer is D. Because in the condition subsequent, you'd have to go to court. So you get and I've seen, this right of reentry. The seller or the grantor gets a right of reentry so they can decide, hey, do I need to take you to court? Versus in a fee simple determinable, if the person does what they're not supposed to do, it automatically reverts. So it's going to revert back to them. So again, I think this is really, really being picky. This is more of a law school topic. I wouldn't dig too deep into that one. And having said that, y'all, it is time for me to go. But I'm so glad we can work on that, Mary. We can. So glad that you found me again. I'm so glad that you all do this with me. And I will see you Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 p.m. Wait, is it 3 p.m. Eastern? 3 p.m. Eastern. Was that 11?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then 12 Pacific, right?
Yeah, 12 Pacific. Yep. That's right. I might want to get that right. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Email me if you want the Zoom link or anything, or if you have questions. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.